Welcome to Watch Symposium. I'm Austin. All right, so I'm headed to Tokyo Station. I'm going to take the GMT Master 2 all black to Rolex. Going to have them check it out. Now, I have it in my bag, and I have it Heart of Darkness style, if you know what that means. And wristwatch check. I'm wearing a Tudor Hydronaut, and I haven't worn this watch in a long time. It's kind of good to have it on. It's a great watch. I love this watch. All right, so let's talk about why I went for the all black over the Coke, because I talked a lot about a Coke, and people were probably surprised to see that I went for an all black over a Coke. Well, there are two reasons. Okay, the first reason has to do with how eye-catching the red can be. All right, let me back up a little bit. Okay, so the Air King, Danny, link in the description. Check out that interview with him. It was great meeting him. I remember during that conversation off camera, he talked about having a Pepsi and about how it was bright, and about how the colors sort of grated on him a bit. I hope I'm not putting words into his mouth. This is what I recall from that conversation. And I remember listening to that and thinking, I was surprised at first because I couldn't really imagine it happening to me. And then I thought about it and I thought, yeah, I hear you. I know what you're talking about. Well, fast forward about 2 years till about 3 weeks ago. I was at my daughter's school. We were having the entrance ceremony. My daughter's 3 and she's going to kindergarten, and during the entrance ceremony I was sitting and there was a guy standing with his young son, and he was holding his son, and so about 5 feet away, eye level, I noticed a Rolex, and it was immediately recognizable. I mean, it was clearly a GMT Master 2. And I looked at it for a good 5 seconds and I thought, wow, that's a really nice Pepsi. And then I thought, or is it a Pepsi? I realized that it was actually a Coke. Well, anyway, long story short, the thing that really made it pop was that red. You know, the way he was holding his son, what would have been the blue and what was the black was sort of in the shadow. But it was really the red that made it pop and just really scream GMT Master 2. And I thought to myself, maybe the all black is the way to go, is just a little bit more subtle. And so I think it was seeing that made me decide to go all black. Now, of course, one other reason, this is reason number 2, was that they discontinued the ceramic all black. And actually, according to Danny, who I just mentioned, he was at Baselworld and he asked somebody who works for Rolex about bezel colors. And this comes right from the horse's mouth. They are making GMTs bicolored. Okay, so the days of the all black are gone for whatever reason. And we know how we love about vintage things that are discontinued. So I thought that might be the way to go. Yeah, the all black. Now, of course, the ceramic all black is what they were talking about, but having an all black GMT, whether it's ceramic or pre-ceramic, if they're indeed going to bicolored bezels, which they are, it's kind of nice. And so that sort of drew me in that direction. Now, what should you get? What would my advice be to get if you were looking for a GMT Master 2 pre-ceramic? Well, I think the top of the GMT food chain, you've got the Pepsi. And then second tier, you've got the Coke. And then bottom of the barrel, if you could call it that, is the all black. I think that's sort of the level of desirability. Now that could change, given the fact that bicolored is going to be the way it goes going forward. And so that could make the black a little bit more desirable. But, well, up until at least a couple months ago, that was sort of the ranking system, I think, in terms of popularity and sort of punch. But also the ranking system in terms of sort of in-your-face screaming GMT Master 2. You know, the top is the red and blue, and then the Coke is a little bit more subtle, and then the most subtle, of course, is the all black. So if you want something that is just not so loud color-wise and just is a little bit more tame in the color department, then the all black might be the way to go. And that's kind of the way I felt about it. So can you get bezels? Can you switch them out? Well, I did a little bezel play this morning, and yeah, I feel comfortable with it, and I did it. Getting it back on is a lot easier than getting it off. And that's one of the questions I have for RSC, which is where I'm headed. Can I get a Coke if I want to? Will I have to source one, or can they sell me one? Can I get a Jubilee? I know I could on my A cereal. Will they let me on the P cereal? So we'll see. Anyway, take care. Thanks for watching. See you next time.